Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to Prehistoric Kingdom Early Access. My name is Swoop there and we are here in Fercola Mountain Park. You would have seen from the thumbnail itself that I am building a Dryosaurus habitat today with a viewing area, and it is, to be honest, right on the edge of the river, which I thought was an interesting challenge when I was building it. I really enjoyed doing this build. Lately I've been lacking some inspiration and I thought I'm just going to make this build simple, like I always say. And to be fair, it is quite a simple build, but I really enjoyed it because it looks different to anything else I have in the park at the moment. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Dryosaurus and then I will jump into talking about my creative process a little bit down the line. So the little Dryosaurus lived in the late Jurassic period, which I guess was ranging from around 156 to 145 million years ago. Its name means tree lizard, and I like breaking down their names like this. So Drys means tree or oak and Saurus means lizard. So the name that it was given that name because they wanted to reflect the forested or all the trees in the habitat in which it likely lived. So it's been theorized that it lived in forest and woodland ranges with potentially tall oak trees, hence its name oak lizard. And what you'll find is that, or if you read anything about it, it lived in areas that was near water. So later on you'll see me popping some water into this habitat because I guess near water, that's where plenty of easily eaten plants and plant life would grow. It had quite large eyes, which allowed it to see predators or danger from afar, and they were bipedal dinosaurs. I think that's how you pronounce it. And that basically means that they walked and ran on two legs. It had thin, long legs with 3 toes, and then it had shorter arms, and I think from what I read, I think it was 5 fingers on each arm, and it had, I want to say, a moderate sized head. I don't know how you would describe that, maybe like a medium sized head and a little horny beak, which it used to obviously strip plants and eat them. It had a long neck and then a stiff tail, which was used for balance, especially when it was running. Now, when I was reading about its size and its weight, there was loads of different thoughts on this from loads of different websites. So I went to like 10 different websites and almost all of them were different. So I'm just going to tell you some of the things that I read, but the reason that the estimates for its size and its weight are so different is because they've never actually found an adult skeleton or an adult specimen of the Dryosaurus. A lot of them have been subadults or juveniles. So it was estimated to be around 60 to 91 centimeters. I think that's 24 to 36 inches if I'm not mistaken in length, and it could be up to, I want to say, like 6 feet tall, so about 182 centimeters or 72 inches. But as I said before, the exact length is unknown because they've never found an adult fossil. So they really are just kind of speculating around that. They also are speculating around the weight. Now, I read some websites that said they could weigh 77 to 90 kilos, and then I also saw other theories that said they could only weigh up to 45 kilos. So really, you don't really know. I mean, depending on the height, I suppose, and the length of the dinosaur, I guess they factor in how much it could have weighed. But because of the lack of the adult fossil, that they haven't found one, I guess there's a lot of theories around what it could have been when it was an adult. Also, there's some more theories around because of its general lack of defenses, so it didn't really have anything on its body to help them protect themselves. Scientists have actually theorized that its defense was its speed, so it was able to run really fast and was able to outrun, I guess, the larger predators of that era, such as the Allosaurus, for example. So that's a little bit about the Dryosaurus. Now let's talk more about what I'm building at the moment. So what I decided to go with here was Originally, when I was building this walkway, you can see it's covered over by glass. I just wanted to have a walkway there, and I wasn't actually going to build a habitat in here. And then I thought that's a bit of wasted space, and I can fit a habitat in here if it's for a smaller dinosaur. And I really was feeling the build for the smaller dinosaur because, you know me, I love the small ones. So I was also considering moving over the Protoceratops into this habitat, but I decided against it. I do think that some people will think this habitat is probably a bit small for the Dryosaurus. I tend to agree, but also, I mean, really, when you think about zoos themselves, the animals are never really in habitats that would be perfect for them in the wild. So, you know, they are always in smaller habitats than what they would be in or, you know, be used to out in the wild. So yes, it's smaller, but I'm happy with how it turned out. The murals, I really loved using the murals on the back here. I wanted to reuse them. I love these murals. I'm hoping we get more soon in different kind of habitats and different areas, different themes even, because I really enjoyed using them. And I just wanted to have something in the back to kind of not draw your eye to the back of the habitat, I guess. So it kind of looks like it just goes on rather than, you know, it's just a brick wall or a rock wall on the back. Then I popped on some rock on the sides here so it just wasn't concrete. And I also ended up putting in a little backstage area for the Dryosaurus, and then also like a full outdoor area for them to run around in as well, so the guests can have a little peek through into that outdoor area. It does eventually come sort of around as you walk through the guest walkthrough. You can peek into the Dryosaurus outdoor area, but the outdoor area goes all the way around the back of this large shed-like structure as well, so they kind of have that privacy. They also have a little bedding area, and I have done the backstage areas now for the Smilodon and the Dryosaurus, so we will talk about that during the real-time walkthrough. The speed build today is not too long. I think it's about 12 minutes long, and we are about halfway through at the moment. I wanted to make the outside of this shed structure still quite forested. You can see at the moment I'm removing the trees, but I do go in shortly and put them all back in. I also found this river was really in my way. Like, I'm regretting having this river here, but I can't remove it because it sort of comes from the mammoth habitat and sort of comes down, so it wouldn't make sense to remove it completely. So I have kind of made it follow a different path, so I had a little bit more space to work with the backstage area of the Dryosaurus. And what I'll do is I'll eventually pop a little bridge across for the backstage, and also a bridge across for the guests, so the guests can kind of walk across that bridge area. When I was roofing this habitat, I had a bit of trouble because I always tend to forget to group things in the right way. So I ended up, grouping the wrong things with the wrong things, and then I had to go through and like individually select a whole bunch of stuff. I am getting better at that, but also when I'm really on a roll with building, sometimes I don't think about it, and then I finish a particular section and I'm like, oh, I didn't actually group that correctly, and then there really is no going back from that. You have to go in and individually select everything, remove it from the group, and then add it to a new group or create a new group from it. But you can see I wanted things in this shed area to be really light and bright. I also wanted it to be somewhat realistic, so I end up putting some air vents inside the shed itself, so you can see where they would be able to kind of temperature control inside. So I guess during the winter when it's snowing and things, they can just have the Dryosaurus inside permanently and actually keeping warm in this area, because I have put all specimens of the Dryosaurus in here, not just the feathered Dryosaurus. But if I was just going to go for the feathered, I guess I could have had only outside area. But I suppose if it was, really cold and snowy and so on, they could have the feathered housed outside, and then they could have the more tropical ones, or the ones that didn't have any little feathers, on the inside. I really liked this idea of having the covered over walkway so that people could really pause here regardless of weather and have a look in at the Dryosaurus. I put an implied seat down the middle, which you would have seen me do. It's black and it kind of has a planter box down the middle of the implied seat. The reason I did that is because on one side you would kind of have the viewing area, so you would have those guests who are stopping to look through the windows at the Dryosaurus and so on. And then on the other side, you might have the guests that are just walking past. So they've already seen the Dryosaurus, or they're not particularly interested, or it's really busy so they can't stop. And so they're just making their way past and you know, they don't really have a moment to be able to stop, or there's no way for them to look in the windows. Maybe they decide to walk straight through and have a peek through into the outside area. I'm not sure. I also ended up putting like a little implied, well, it's not even implied, it's supposed to be like a little feature, water feature just by the entrance here of the walkway, and a big T-Rex statue, which is a little Easter egg for people who might be, I guess, watching this whole series and kind of staying for most of the video. The T-Rex statue is not just there for looks. That's as much as I'll say. So anyway, what I'm going to do is I will let you guys hang out for the next 2 minutes without me talking at you, and I will be back for the real-time tour in a couple of minutes' time. See you then, guys. Bye. Okay everyone, welcome to the real-time tour. So if you were a guest, you would have likely just come from this direction here. I mean, at the moment, because I haven't built a pathway from any other direction. So up here is the pathway that comes from the Smilodon habitat. You can see the Smilodon habitat down in behind here, and the pathway that comes up, the mammoths are over behind here, and then you would kind of come on down here and walk quietly along. Now the river you would hear flowing down next to you here, you can't actually really see it except for glimpses because it's kind of blocked off by this rock wall, or this, you know, I think they've kind of built this rock wall themselves to kind of prevent the river ever overflowing into these habitats here. And so you would kind of just wander on down, you would see the T-Rex statue here that might sort of give you a little bit of a, ooh, I wonder if the T-Rex is going to be coming up soon kind of feeling. It's obviously not in here because that wouldn't be anywhere near as big enough. And then you have this little water feature here with just this little, almost like this really shallow pool that kind of can be drained. As you can see, there's a drain there. And then you kind of just would walk on past here, and there are the implied seating. So if you didn't want to look into the Dryosaurus, you could just walk past on this side. So you can see I've got a little bit of detailing to do, which I'm intending to do in a stream. So you walk on down past this side, and you could even have a seat there if you're feeling tired. Or if you did want to see the Dryosaurus, which we do, I'm not sure how many I've got in here at the moment, so there may not be any inside, but you would, you know, have a little read of the, you know, about the dinosaur themselves, and then you could have a look into their habitat. Oh, there's one or two in the back there. So you can see there's a lot of glass above to let in lots of natural light. I think it's early in the morning at the moment in the days, or the game sort of day cycle. This guy's going to have a little walk through the water. Great view. Thank you, mate. That is delightful. There's one in the back there just walking through into the backstage area, and then potentially to outside, I suppose. So you can see in here, like, even though it is an indoor habitat, it is still quite big. I do have those air vents up there, so it is able to be climate controlled. If they want, they can close everything off and kind of turn these on. And then the dinosaurs can just live indoors depending on the weather. And then if we just walk on past here, I'll see if we can catch a glimpse of the door into the backstage area from in here. I've kind of tried to hide it as much as possible. There you can see one sort of heading in back there, and then there's that roller door there that comes down if they want to keep them in or out. Then if we walk along here, I want to pop in some garden beds along here and so on. You can have a look into the outdoor area, a little glimpse in. This is kind of like an implied ball that they might play with. And then you may or you may not see them here. You can kind of get a glimpse down into the backstage area. I will take you down there in a moment. They kind of may come up here. They also may not. There is quite a bit of space for them to roam around in the back there. And their beds are also inside this little area here. So if we just even zoom in a little bit more, this part here actually has their beds. There you go. Can we catch a glimpse of any? Oh, here's one right here in front of us. Having a little lay down on the rock there. Hello, friend. So there you are. We might actually even hop into their habitat here. So we'll just wander through. And what we'll do is we're going to phase straight through this wall. And I will show you the interior of the habitat first. So here we are inside the habitat. So we've got these beautiful murals on the wall. We look up and we've got all this glass. Like I said, it is very shed-like. And then, oh, there's one inside having a lay in the water. They really love coming into this water. I think it's because this is the only water in the habitat, so they come in to drink it, which is handy because there is always a couple in here. And then we have sort of this back area. I haven't seen any of them go up here. I'd quite like to see that. I popped that there because it would be cool for them to sort of jump up and kind of be up high, I think. But there you go. And then that would be their view of the guests. So I'm hoping they aren't too shy. There we go. Now this one's likely going to be heading out of the habitat now, and you can see there's others in the backstage area, so we'll head over there. So there's the keeper door here, and there's also two roller doors that can come up and down. Two of the feathered ones. Some bedding in here, and then you kind of step out into their back, the back of their habitat, so we can kind of look around. There's a couple of them down here having a little wander. You can see it goes all the way into the back here, so they do have quite a bit of space. So they don't have to be up here where the guests would be. They could easily hide down around behind here. So if I zoom out, I'll show you guys, without showing you the backstage yet, kind of the scope of the habitat itself. So it comes along here and up here. So they have all this outdoor area. Then they have this indoor part. You can see one through the roof there. And then this is obviously the keeper entrance here. There is also another keeper entrance a bit further down. So what I'll do is I'll take you to the backstage now. All credit to Mrs. T-Rex for these golf carts. She is amazing at building these smaller detailed things, and I wanted to put them in my park. I've been wanting to put them in my park for ages. So here they are. So well done, Gemma. They're amazing. I wanted to pop them in. And then you can see here, I do have a backstage, almost like a little holding area or quarantine area. So when the keepers are kind of bringing in the Dryosaurus, they do have like an indoor area for them. They also have, you know, these roller doors that go up and down. It's like an extra inside kind of area for these dinosaurs. I need to finish a few small details on the roofs and things, but we'll pretend that they're all finished off. And then I have a gate here so that they can kind of let the Dryosaurus in and out depending on who they want to keep in and who they want to keep out. I think this is an in-game backstage shed, but don't quote me on that. It could also be something that I've picked up on Discord. Someone's actually built. But I just wanted to pop that there because this particular backstage area is quite a long way away from all the other backstage areas. So I feel like it would have a lot of its own things kind of around this area. And then we have this pile of rock here where they might sort of come and grab some to fill in certain areas that the dinosaurs might have, you know, pawed at or tried to get under fences and so on. And then this is the backstage building for the Smilodon. So if we just sort of pop our heads through here, you can see we're kind of inside their little cave. And then this is actually the Smilodon habitat. So there we go. We'll just head back through here. This is where they could bring the Smilodon in and out. And then you have this area here, which I'm yet to finish off. So I guess it's just where the bridge will be to go across here and head to the other backstage areas. Now I can zoom right out to give you a proper view. So here we go. So there's the Smilodon down here, mammoths over the back there. I will take you to the mammoths in a moment. A few people have asked me to show you what you can see from the mammoths now. I was really worried that this would be an eyesore from the mammoth habitat. It really luckily isn't because all these trees block it quite a lot. You can see it a little bit, but I think that's okay. And then as I was saying in the speed build, you've got this walkway that walks across here. I'll build a bridge across here eventually so that the guests can kind of walk across, and then a bridge will go across here for the staff as well. I replaced the fence next to the mammoth exhibit so that it looks a little bit more realistic, and you would have seen in the speed build that I sort of removed the river because I wasn't happy with it where it was. So what I'll do now, I'll take you over to the mammoth habitat and I will show you what you can see from the building itself. So I really didn't want these beautiful vistas impeded by a bunch of buildings in the park. Like the only building you can really see is the entrance building and some of the backstage here. And then the big tropical house over here. But to be fair, I haven't finished putting trees in here, so that will be somewhat inhibited shortly. Now you can see over here, you really cannot see much at all. You can see a little bit of that Dryosaurus habitat, but not much. And then the rest of this view is just stunning. I'm going to change the lighting so that we can see it a bit better. Oh yeah, I like that evening light. Look at that. Beautiful. All right, so you've got this beautiful vista all the way around, and you really can't see in here too much at all. Even, it doesn't really matter what time of day. You can hardly see it, which I am happy about. You will be able to see a bridge across here eventually. That's going to be the staff bridge, but I think that's, you know, you can't really help that. But you won't be able to see the guest bridge or any of the other buildings in the park. So with that being said, guys, I think that is it for today's episode. If you are enjoying my content, please do give it a like and subscribe if you would like to see more. It always does help out the channel. I really appreciate each and every one of you. And as always, guys, I will see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.